Have you ever woken up one morning only to discover that life's biggest moments have passed you by? We're going to tackle that question on today's show. It's On Air Brands Live right here, right now.
You are now tuned in to the On Air Brands podcast.
Here we are. We're tackling life's little questions. The questions that you ask at parties, off the cuff. Nothing meaningful or big here. What's going on, guys?
What's going on?
Good morning. Welcome back, Eric.
Yeah. Oh, I was gone. That's right. It's good to be back. It's good to be back.
We missed
Not in
you.
studio, but yeah, in the flesh, so to speak. Thank you.
Here we are. So I like that we're just getting right to it. Our guest today is going to help us identify what he did after spending many years staring at similar four walls and saying, enough's enough. I've missed some of my life's biggest moments. So are we ready for that sort of a conversation?
Love it.
Love it.
Yeah. What do you guys, how do you connect to that? Do you ever find maybe I'm not focusing on the right stuff? Have you reached that point in your life in the recent past or at any time in the past?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I changed industries completely. I mean, a lot of life kind of hit me backwards, upside down, every which way. And I was engaged, living in a place that I paid $1 million in rent, I felt like. And I was traveling to San Francisco for a dinner. I'd go there, go to the dinner, and then turn around and leave. So it was like two different red eyes in one day, no sleep, and it got to me, and I just was over it. I was engaged, not spending any time with my family, not spending any time with anyone. I had a great paycheck, but what else did I have for it? Nothing. So changed completely. So yes, resonates a lot with me, and I'm excited to have this conversation.
That's great. Go ahead,
I
Lisa.
love it. Yeah, no, and I have a big birthday coming up in 2021, and you know what? A lot of this is now coming, taking a different perspective on things, and so a lot of these type questions are very relevant to me, and I'm looking forward to seeing what our guest has to say.
I want to do some quick housekeeping for any and all who are watching. Of course, we always love you and love you for tuning in and sharing your time with us. Please like, subscribe, and share this with everyone. I just shared this. I know it's always like a deep rabbit hole to get in, but if you're watching this, easy for you. Share it with your friends, family, because we offer a ton of value throughout the show, and we're really excited to be here with you and to share some ideas. Especially, we like to mix it up with our guests and do some really cool, fun stuff that hopefully enlightens your day.
I find that having children, for me personally, and I know that I'm not unique in that regard, but I find that they really shine the light on what's important if you're willing to see that light being shined. Because it's just like, what else really matters except what's going on with these two and how you experience life, which is only one and done, right? If we're going as deep as possible here. My daughter, who's seven and change right now, for a little while now, I don't know where it comes from or if it's quote unquote the standard, but she asks questions about life and death directly. And sometimes I don't know how to answer them, but she's asking them.
Good for her, though. You know what? Good for her for feeling that she can ask the questions and for processing that to such a level at that age. Just imagine another 7 years from now, she will really take it to a new level.
It's true. And good for you also, Josh, for being able to accept those questions and not turn them down because, obviously her mind is growing right now. So to kind of go off of what Lisa's saying, it's so important to be able to ask those questions and to also be able to be reciprocated and feel safe.
Yeah. The thing is that, and also my 5-year-old son, he's also getting on board with the questions, but, for my daughter who's 7, a lot of the questions end with her in confusion about what life is and what death is. And I often end those conversations, answering as best and appropriately as I can. I often end those with reassuring her that, you know what, as you get a little older, these conversations might start to make a little more sense, really knowing full well that even at 46 they barely make sense, and it's just like, I don't know, I'm guessing this is probably what it is. But imagine a 7-year-old, like she'll end some of the conversation saying, well, I don't get that, I don't understand what that means. And I'm like, well, as you get older, these conversations may make a little more sense.
And you really might want to say, and neither do I, but it is right.
True.
It is
Eric,
what it is.
you have these conversations yet, Eric?
All the time, especially like you said, our kids are very similar ages. Veronica's 6.5 now. She's always asking questions about life and death. And, like you, we're very open about it.
Yeah.
We talk about it, and it's funny because you'll have dinner and she's going, so when grandma dies, things like that. I'm like, okay, like out of nowhere. And I'm like,
no, they are blunt about life and death.
And she's not dark or depressed about it. She's like, matter of factly, when grandma's dead. And then she says it to like, Dad, when you're gone. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? We stayed at a bed and breakfast, and we didn't know because we arrived late, but when we woke up and looked out the window, there was a cemetery. Like, we were literally right there. I could have thrown a rock and hit a tombstone. But she was like, hey, Dad, look, cool, we're at a cemetery. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, there's ghosts flying around here all night long. But yeah, so she she's curious like you. And I guess, and at some point you just forget, or you don't think about it as much. But yeah, I wish I could transport my mind into a 6-7-year-old and how they see the world and how they have all the questions. And it's really kind of refreshing, to have children that you can sort of live vicariously through in those moments. I'll never forget the first time she had chocolate, and she was probably like 3 or 4 eating a truffle. And she was like, what am I eating? And I was like, yes. So cool.
The other really cool thing that happens now that I have an 18-year-old is that you then see the progression where they are now developing their own thought processes, their opinions, their ideas. And sometimes you're like, where did that come from? Where did you get that from? But they are taking everything that you've told them and everything that they see out in the world, and they're compiling it into what makes sense for them. And then they're vocalizing it. And sometimes you're like, wow. And you hear them have conversations with their friends. And then it's amazing to see. So from that 6 and 7-year-old, fast forward 10 years, it's amazing to see them because now they're their own people and they're going out, and now someone will be asking them those questions and see how they answer it. The evolution is pretty amazing. So it's, my thing is enjoy the journey, because the journey is what the beautiful part of it.
And I fear that those 10 years when you're talking about are going to fly by.
Absolutely.
In the blink of an eye.
Absolutely. So
they're
enjoy every moment.
Right.
Yeah. On that, really quick before you move on,
sure.
and we bring our new guy into the room. It's interesting that I heard this recently. This perspective is you can go through life, there's living in the present moment and appreciating and having gratitude for what's happening right now. Or you can live life this way. There's 2 different ways that you're seemingly experiencing the same thing. It's like driving past a park, right? That experience, or walking through the park. So it's 2 of the same things, but you're experiencing them differently. So I often try to remind myself of that metaphor so that I can live in the moment, so I could appreciate every single little thing that's happening when it's happening. Because oftentimes, aren't we driving past the park, like going 90 miles an hour? Like, I'll admit, even at this show, I was literally putting a presentation together, and I looked at my watch and I'm like, oh my God, 1 minute to showtime. And I was not in the moment until now as we're speaking. So apologies to you guys, but that's what it is. It's just life, and you have to often reflect and recognize, oh crap, am I not appreciating what's happening right now?
Let's bring on our guest today, who I assure you will become your new best friend, one of the most truly genuine, authentic, charming, and likable guys I've ever known. Bring him on screen. It's Orlin McLendon. What's going on, Orlin?
Hey, how are you?
Great. How are you?
Oh, Orlin.
I'm blushing with all of those like, wow. Genuine and wow. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, a quick connection here. I've had the pleasure of knowing Orlin for the better part of a year now through my parents. Orlin, and I don't know titles, but I think executive chef. What was the title?
As executive chef, director of culinary operations. That's the fancier version.
Right, at the country club where my parents frequent, and that's where, visiting them with my family.
Yes.
So my 7-year-old Danica, who we were just talking about in the previous segment, you and her actually have met. You have a special bond with her.
Yes.
She created a Valentine's card for you and sent it down for you, and I know you still carry that picture. So it's great to not only be connected with you, to have you here with us in this moment.
It all started with her.
Yeah.
She's the reason why I'm here.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I love
I heard you all when you were talking about the moments. I could have literally said, we don't have pizza, because that's the only reason why I met her, because she had this desire to have pizza. And at that moment, we didn't have pizza, but I said, you know what? This little girl wants pizza. Like, how could I tell her no? So I made her a pizza, and I'm on air brand live. So
Yes.
If I could have, or if I would have just not paid attention to that moment, I would have missed it.
Wow.
So it's just so relevant for me right now. I mean, when I think back to that pizza and meeting this little girl, and then her grandparents, like literally coming up to, they're like, Chef, what did you do to her? Like, she won't stop asking about you.
And then you gave both of my children a tour into the back of the kitchen, making sure to stop at the ice cream machine before dinner, which how could I say no? You offered them the ice cream. But yeah, you've given them tours into the back of how it's all made. What was that phrase that when somebody approaches you with a question, what's your response?
Are you ready? Here it is. The answer is yes. Now what's the question? It's yes. Now what's the question? So whatever you're going to say, the answer is gonna be yes. Now give me the question. So don't waste your time and just go ahead and say, no problem, I'll take care of it. That's life for me.
That's hospitality. That's
Yes.
like the first thing I feel like you learn in hospitality. And regardless of like you being in the industry and kind of, I think that is something huge that you learn in that industry that will last with you forever. And it's so true. Because you meet so many people along the way that you're like, oh, like, is this really like worth my time? Or, like how many times do you get in your head? And, I'm always big on, I talk to everyone and anyone and people, it drives people crazy because they're like, come on, we got to go. Like, we're on a time constraint. And I'm like, but this like old little lady's talking to me, and I brought her Thanksgiving dinner. Like, but like those moments like are everything to me. And that's, and that's how you got here. That's how you met these people, and I appreciate that because it's all about hospitality. I always say
It's
that.
the moment.
Yeah.
I want to ask Orlin how we framed this entire episode. What do you do when you wake up and you realize you've been missing life's biggest, best, and most precious moments? You're actually going through that right now. So I want to get it from your perspective. What was happening where you were in fact missing life's biggest moments, but how do we balance that no matter what we do in life, and certainly play it to your experience?
Right.
So the difference between realizing you've missed life's biggest moments, but you weren't, out on the street doing drugs. You were actually doing, in fact, some of life's biggest and best experiences in exchange for that. So paint those two pictures for us.
You use the word exchange, and the unfortunate part, it wasn't an even exchange. At the end of the day, you want to exchange. Of course, you want to get something better. Yes, I acquired better things, but I missed the moments. So the exchange to me wasn't an even balance. And again, I don't think I learned that until 8 days ago. I'm 42 years old now, and I realized that, age is maturity. You hear it all the time, but you really don't pay attention to it. Age is maturity. Maturity is age. And, when you get older, you're going to be wiser. It's true. It's really, really true. So, that's what it was. I wake up in the morning and it's like, okay, let's go to work. I'm in bed. I'm thinking of work. I'm sitting on the couch. I'm thinking of work. It doesn't matter where I'm at. I'm always thinking of work. And now with, these beautiful devices that we have, I'm never away from work because either I'm thinking about food, I'm looking at food, or I'm texting or emailing about food or what happened or what didn't happen.
I want to share something here with the audience, Orlin, and I'm so glad that you're here to sort of share your experience, and then we can all bounce off of this because this is really, we love talking about this type of stuff. And everyone who's watching, everyone who's listening, I want to throw out an offer. So anyone, can continue engaging, having a conversation, throwing up anything into the comments that resonates with you. And we're going to be giving away to someone who we, I guess, find out, that was an amazing question or an amazing comment, general admission ticket to this Friday's PodMax event, which is closed off, by the way. No one can really get in unless you get a pass from one of us. So we're giving away general admission tickets, and you can come in and drive around and test drive and see what it's all about. And you're going to meet a ton of amazing people, and the keynote speakers are always just absolutely amazing. So throw in the comments, and at the end of the show, we're going to give away a ticket or two, maybe.
Now, let's be honest. Who wouldn't want to do that? Who wouldn't want to do that?
Yeah.
But if you would have asked me 8 days ago, I'd have said I'm too busy. I'm way too busy. I don't have time to sit at a podcast. I don't have time to sit at the computer. But I made 15 hours a day time to do other things. But when you talk about the real enrichment, the real enlightenment, the real connection, we don't make time for that. So whoever gets it, they're gonna love it, and I guarantee you, they're gonna tell you thank you after they've driven that car that you've described. After they've driven through all of that knowledge and wisdom and inspiration and motivation, they're gonna write you a personal letter and say thank you.
Here's the interesting thing. You said 8 days ago, which is fascinating. Was there a final straw, or was there something that was, you always knew in the back of your mind that like, wow, this is going to have to come to a crashing halt at some point, and it just did? How did it come?
I've known it since I've been 16. I've known where I'm supposed to be, but what happens is you get all, let's be honest, ego comes into play, and and you're told that you're amazing and you're great and you're good and the food is fantastic and you're the best chef in the world, and you're like give me more, and it just becomes this chase of wanting more. And you love that. You love telling people that you're amazing and you're beautiful and chef, you're handsome, and how did you get so slim, chef, and all those stuff. And 8 days ago, it's just kind of like, enough is enough. My morning this morning was, I made breakfast for my daughter.
I love that.
My daughter's been in my life for 10 years. She can probably count on both hands.
Oh no.
How many times I made
Wow, it's like the cobbler's kids have no shoes. That's crazy.
This is real life. And you know what? I'm not the only person. I'm not the only individual that finds himself chasing and chasing and chasing, and you're missing life's moments.
A quote that you remind me of is, we give everyone, all of us, and then we give our family what's left.
Yep.
And that's the worst, right? And then I always feel so guilty because I'm aware of it, but then when I get home and then like, or just come out of the office, out of my shell, and you know, my oldest it's like, Daddy, how come you work all the time? I'm like, but I'm home. In my mind, I'm like, I'm home. What are you talking about? But I'm not present, right? I'm not around. I come out, I get some coffee, and I'm like, all right, kids, get out of the way. I got to get back. So it's like, you're right, Orlin. It's like, it's so challenging, especially when you're a hustling. If that's what you are, that's your DNA. You grew up seeing your parents. My parents were hard workers. So I always sort of adopted the way their lifestyle was. Like, I was a latchkey kid, and they were always running around, 12 jobs, and then, you know, I would just make myself a butter sandwich when I got home. But like, my kids aren't experiencing that exact thing, but they're kind of experiencing that, right? Without me being around and present for them. And it's funny, I try to bank it all. So I know we spent over Thanksgiving 4 straight days together. It's never really enough.
No.
Monday, I'm back at work and they're like, Daddy, why are you working? I'm like, I just spent 4 days with you, kid. Come on. How much time? They want all of you. They want all of you, which they deserve.
It's so true. I feel like there's like 2 different parts of me too. Like, my old part is like me, like in stilettos, flying first class. If I stayed at a Four Seasons, I was like, come on, you can't get me into a montage, you know, like that was my life. I was the best friend at conferences with the executive chefs, and they made me whatever I wanted at any point. So thank you for that. But that was like my life, you know, and I work 24/7. I mean, I was always working. And, you know, my fiance, he was a director of banquets at top, you know, high-end hotels and the Rainbow Room in Manhattan. And so both of us, we lived that life. So I know that life really well. And I know what it takes from you, you know, and then you're going to the coolest parties, the newest openings, the newest rooftops, like you're going to all those, you're meeting the celebrity chefs, like you're hanging out in that crowd. And it sounds cool in theory, like when you say it, but like in my life, like it took me a while to really put my ego aside and be like, I don't need to like stay in a Ritz-Carlton everywhere I go. I don't need to fly first class.
No, you do. The Ritz-Carlton is great.
But like, no, it is great.
You do. Right?
Like,
no, stay at the Ritz.
Yes, we do.
No.
Those connections. But like, you know, it got to a point though that like I was traveling so much that like I wasn't hanging out. You know, my fiance was like separating the different color Skittles to make like the different celebrities happy. You know, like it got to the point.
Is that true, or is that just a myth? Is that a myth?
Really?
And like, you know, you get to that point and they're like, oh, I only drank this. You're like, okay, well, now I'm chasing around Manhattan to try to find this that someone's going to make happy. And hopefully they drop a ticket after, you know. And so you get to that point, though, that like, yes, both of us were making amazing money. But like, what really were you getting out of it? I wasn't spending time with my family. And if I used to bring my mom actually on most of the trips that I would go on. But like I brought her and she got to experience the Ritz-Carlton or the Four Seasons or the Montage. And, you know, everything was always covered. But like at the same time, like I never, ever spent time with her at those events. And, and it was hard because like I'd wake up at 4 a.m. and I'd go to bed at 2 a.m. and I'd do it again for the next like 7 days in a row. And so then it got to a point that I was like, Mom, why don't you bring a friend with you? And so she would bring a friend because I wouldn't be able to see her. She'd bring a friend and then I would literally get a cot in my room and they would stay like in the beautiful, like nice fluffy bed. And I would like be sleeping in a cot. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense to me anymore. Like I'm getting to a point that like, why am I doing this? Like, it's not about the money anymore. Like it's not, you know, and then exactly what you're saying. It's ego. They're like, you're like an amazing event planner. And you're like, that's amazing. Like, I'm done. I quit. So I hear you. I know that lifestyle and I know that feeling and I know that like in your gut and you know that like, that's not where you're supposed to be. So kudos to you for acknowledging that. And also for saying yes, because I think that is the biggest thing. Like I've learned in hospitality and, you know, that has got me, you know, really far in life is just not missing those opportunities. And now it's nice, like to spend time with family and to really hang out and enjoy these moments.
And this is the beauty. I've realized I can do the same exact thing, but with boundaries.
Yes. Love
I
it.
can do the same exact thing.
Mhm.
I can cook for the same celebrity people. I can still. The only thing is now I'm making boundaries. Well, you know what? After 8 o'clock, I'm done. I'm not doing
Mm.
anything. I'm not taking any more emails. You know what? This Saturday, this Sunday. Yes, I know it's. I get it. It's your daughter's birthday, but I'm not doing it because I'm going to be off with my daughter. So I have boundaries now. So
Boundaries.
it doesn't mean that you have to completely annihilate yourself from the workplace and I'm not going to work. I'm not going to. No, it just means that from day one, you have to set boundaries.
Yeah.
And that's what we don't do. We don't set boundaries for ourselves.
Mm.
We just, I have one of my servers. It's so funny. I'll say, "Are you able to work on Friday?" And he doesn't because he goes to Bible study. And he's like, "Nope, can't do it." I was like, "Are you serious? Just one time?" He says, "No, because I know what your one time means.
Mm.
Yes. Oh, I
One
went through that
time
part.
means 2 times, then 3 times." And so he never says yes. And you know what? As much as I hate him for it at that time, I really like the fact that he stood his ground.
Mm.
Yeah.
I remember like we got like you get to that point, like I'll never forget, like we had a small team, but we planned like hundreds of events like throughout the country. And like I'll never forget, and this is horrible. I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, but like one of our colleagues' dad had passed away, and it was like the anniversary of his death. And we were like, there's an event. Like get with it. Like, we need you. Like you can't be there. You can't do that. And like it's horrible because like that's not me as a person. And like to get to that part, I was like, oh no. Like I remember telling my mom, being like, she left us hanging, and like she had to go to this anniversary of her father's like funeral. And my mom was like, that is not who I raised. Like, what is wrong with you? And like you get into that mindset. You're like, no, you have to be there. Like the servers, why isn't there like 4 servers per person? Like it's like there's so much. And I walked away and I was like, I feel like I have to like apologize to people because that's not who I am as a person. And I feel horrible that took that out of me, because this is, in the grand scheme of things, this is not important.
Right.
Like your life is important. Your family is important. Those are the things that are always going to be there. And like, I mean, I'm actually really good friends with the person I'm referencing, but like, I did, it brought me like down. And then the following year, like we had the same event fell at the same time. And I was like, you know what, why don't you take out a few days? Like, let's work leading up to it. And then I'll take it over. Like you go with your family. I'll do this on my own. And like, it just, I mean, it's horrible. I
want to apologize. I feel like I've given you flashbacks.
PTSD.
It's gonna be okay.
She had no idea.
Changed industries. I am so much happier. But yeah, no, I hear you.
It's all who you surround yourself with, right?
Yes.
So if you're in a company that breeds a culture, creates a culture like that, then you become that over time. So eventually something always inside of you beckons and calls, this is not you, but you sort of ignore it. And then over time, and you just give it a little bit of time, you become that. You become what's around you. That's why they say, you are your network. Your network is your net worth. You are the 5 people that you surround yourself. So it's so true in that even in a large corporation or a company, if you don't vibe with the culture at that interview, that very moment where I get it. When you're young, you're going to say yes. You want opportunities and you want to experience things. But if you feel in your truest of hearts that this is not for me, then yeah, go the other direction and find a culture and find people in a tribe that you vibe with, so that you can grow into who it's corny, the best version of yourself. Who do you want to be? Who do you ultimately want to become, so that you can help more people, all that stuff. So yeah, I've been there, and it's a little bit further rearview mirror for me, Devin. So I'm not like, experiencing PTSD when I think of these stories, but absolutely, man. I remember just times where it was like, what are you talking about? It's 3 a.m. Where's that stuff? We've got a presentation tomorrow. I mean, we're doing it now, but there's boundaries, like you said, Orlin. And the thing is, it starts with you. It's like you said, your server has his constitution. What is it that makes up what his boundaries are? And you have to stick to those boundaries, or else once you deviate, then forget it. We just throw that Constitution out the window.
Yeah.
But you know what's interesting? We talked about this before you came on, Orlin. I think it starts with teaching children that there are such things as boundaries, because you show them what creating boundaries is about. And sometimes it's in relationships, and that's hard. And sometimes it's in your career, and sometimes it's even just in the home. But you show them how to create boundaries with situations or people, and then all of a sudden they are in turn, learning to create boundaries with their friends academically, and then once they get out into the real world. So it's interesting when you really think about it, Orlin. What you're showing your daughter is you've created a boundary, and for work, and the boundary then creates you being able to make breakfast for her. And wow, so creating boundaries created something good for her. I'm sure she got a pretty good breakfast.
Oh yeah.
Did she say anything from the breakfast? Like, did she appreciate it more? Like, were you able to like soak in that moment?
It was literally just the fact that I was making it, and we sat and we ate it together. And we weren't rushing. Normally it's like, London, let's go, let's hurry, we gotta go. And the funny thing is she always says, Dad, it's because you didn't get ready. Like, it's not because of me. It goes back to what you were saying when you're having conversation with kids. Like, kids, they say the darndest things. And she just reminded me of, okay, like, we're not late because of me. We're late because of you. So no. And I love what you said, Lisa, when you said in the home. So it literally, it all goes back to the beginning moment. It all goes back. It all works together. And when you try to miss any steps of this journey that we talk about, you're going to have to go back and redo it, or you're going to have to suffer the consequences. So I'm so grateful that, now I'm able to go back and kind of get some things in order, fix some things, and not only be successful in the world when I walk outside the door and everyone's like, chef, chef, chef. I want to be successful within the four walls of this home that I have. And I want everyone to say, Dad, Dad, Dad. So, even the birds, sometimes the bird's like, you're no good because like you didn't feed me on time today. It's like the bird is even upset with me sometimes. It's like,
what about the role that you've given yourself during those, as you've put it, those ego-driven moments where you were at the top of your game, at the top of your world, but yet you also found, even during those moments, and to this day, you have a connection to the homeless community where you just give and give. Set some of that up for us.
Oh, put it this way. Today, London's my daughter. She says, Daddy, can you pick me up early? Which she never likes to be picked up early because she likes to play all day long at school. Can you pick me up early because I want to go see Sylvia? And Sylvia is a lady that we met yesterday. She was homeless in the park. And, we're in Florida right now, it's a little chilly. So it got down to about 60. I think they said, 40 at night, 30-ish. And, my heart was just pumping. And I just said, you know what? People are cold. And I have like 3 blankets in my house that don't even use. I have like a drawer. I collect socks. It's one of my collector's items. I have a drawer full of socks that I collect, and like they're just sitting there looking at me. And it's just like, come on, Orlin, you got to do something. So you're absolutely right. I've always had a connection to being in places where I think people walk by, they ride by. That individual that you see on the corner every day that like stares at you in the face, and it's just kind of like seriously. And I'm just one that I can't ride by and I can't just not do anything. So I'm always finding myself, like I said, it's no matter where I've ever been, wherever this career of cooking has taken me, I've always found myself where the least of these are, in reference, in the Bible where it says the least of these. And that's just something that I've done for many, many years. It's just a part of me. And if I could definitely do that every day, I would do that every day than to cook, to be honest with you.
Tell us about the request that one of your one of your people you were speaking to the other day on the
So,
street.
so I'm on my workout, trying to lose 20 pounds because I feel like I've been eating for the last 8 days. Now I have time to actually eat. A chef. I'm admitting I have time to eat now. So I'm on my walk, and I see this lady and this young man, and they're young people, and they're sitting there, they're doing whatever that they're doing, and I couldn't walk by, and I said, do you mind if I sit down? And we just started talking, and I always record people when I talk. I never put their video, like their face, unless I ask, but I do record when they talk because I always want to remember what they're talking about or go back and I listen. And long story short, this guy, I said, I came back because I wanted to ask you, what do you need? Just a simple, what do you need? What can I do? And he looked at me in my face, and he didn't say, can you give me money? Can you give me food? He said, can you get me 2 books? Just like that. I'm like, huh? Like, books? Really? Okay. He says, I'd like to have these 2 James Patterson books. And one is called The End, and one of it's called like The Cross or something. So I've ordered them on Amazon. But it just reminded me of, when we think that people that you see out in the world that, unfortunately, they don't look like us. They might look like me right now because I haven't shaved. I love it.
8 days.
I don't have to shave. So they might look like me, but they may not smell the best. They may not look the best. They may not have on the proper clothes that we think is proper, but they're not always wanting anything. Like, again, he just wanted a book. And I've met so many people that just, they want LOVE, period. And it can come in so many ways, shapes, or forms, or fashions. And we're going to deliver some books tomorrow, and we're going to deliver some blankets today. And it's all because of the moment. It's all because I've said, Orlin, wake up. You're great at what you do, but you're failing at other things. And I want to be successful all around. I don't want to fail in my personal life. I don't want to fail at home. I don't want to fail in the things that really matter. I watched my father pass July 11th. I watched literally his chest take his last breath. And before that happened, my dad said to me, he says, I wish I had more time. And that has stuck with me. I wish I had more time. So I'm going to take advantage of the time that I do have, and everyone that I can inspire and motivate, or even get them to ask themselves the question, maybe I really do need to cut back my hours. If I can motivate someone to do that, I'm good with that, So that's just where I am. And then you came along with this amazing on-air brand that I've never in my life heard of. And that's all I've been doing is researching and reading and watching videos. And I said to myself, these have to be the most amazing 4 or 5 group of people I've not met yet.
Very cool.
Thank you, Orlin.
Thanks, Orlin.
Cool story.
You remind me of a story that I heard through my
Orlin.
throwback. I love the 70s. So I have a mastermind, and in there was an individual. We do these things called one sheets, where it's basically an audit of your life. And the guy is ridiculously successful, millions in his bank account. And he admittedly, and this is what's great about having a group like this, is, we're vulnerable, and he admits he's not happy. So we have a happy index, but it's a combination of a lot of different numbers, a lot of variables. But we found out why he wasn't happy. And it was because he had 0 charitable events on his one sheet. He didn't have anything that he was doing that gave back. So it's really something that, as business owners, as anyone, you could be in a W-2. It doesn't matter. If you don't feel fulfillment, if you don't feel happiness within, look to that. What are you giving back? How are you helping people? There's always someone out there, and reticular activation, whatever the term is, if you notice it, if you're looking for it,
right?
There are people that need you. There are people that, just like you said, Orlin, maybe it's just a book. It's something simple. Just because someone's reaching out their hand doesn't mean you're going to have to dedicate the next 5 weeks with them. It could be something simple, and that will give you fulfillment. It's simple as that. It's really, really quite easy.
This happened yesterday. So I'm on my way, and we met. This is the young lady, Sylvie, that I met in the park. So right away, I need more blankets. I want to go get some sleeping bags. I wanted to go get some gloves because it was cold. So I go to the thrift store, right? I go to the thrift store. The first lady I see, I says, ma'am, can you help me? I'm looking for blankets. I'm looking for this, that, and the other. She says, absolutely. She says, do you mind if I ask, what are you doing? And I thought that was odd.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
why are you asking me what am I doing? Because I'm in a thrift store, so I'm off, So the story gets better. So she says, she kind of takes me to where everything is. And then as I'm checking out, she says, do you mind if you tell me, I says, I met some ladies at the park. And she said, wow. She says, I personally want to thank you. She says, because 2 months ago, I too was homeless.
Wow.
And now I've met another friend. She gave me all the blankets at like 50% discount. Then the lady standing behind me, Josh, this is for you. So the lady standing behind me, she says, oh, okay. So as I'm walking out of the store, she says to the cashier, the lady that gave me the discount, she says, that guy, he really should do something with media.
And here you are.
Wow.
This happened yesterday. So then I came back. I was like, turn around. I says, ma'am, thank you for the confirmation. I said, tomorrow I'm going to be on air with on air brand live. Again, it's fresh in my mouth, so it doesn't flow. So bear with me.
That's okay.
And I says, I'm doing this tomorrow. She says, I knew I had to tell you that.
Wow.
So
crazy.
my life right now is just being in the places I'm supposed to be.
So crazy.
In the moment.
Unreal.
Sometimes that's just
here's
it's just listening, right? You engage certain conversation and look what happened.
In the moment.
It's just being there in the moment, being present.
I have like 100 tattoos. I'm going to get one that says in the moment.
Yeah.
That's a good
Or
idea.
stay in the moment. Stay in the moment, maybe.
Yeah.
What's crazy is how we always feel, the stereotypical term, everything happens for a reason, but it's so applicable here because as you put it, Lisa, just listening, just being aware, just being in the moment, trusting and taking action on what you're feeling. So the way this actually happened is pretty wild. I was talking, and just follows that suit. I was talking to my father right before Thanksgiving, and I said, what are you guys doing for Thanksgiving? And he told me. And then, and remember, Orlin was the executive chef there. And Jake, thank you. So he was the executive chef there. So that just brought Orlin back to my mind. And having known the kind of person he was and the relationship that my children had and have with him, I said, and Orlin, I'm connecting the dots in real time for you too. This is what happened. This is why this moment took place, because after I spoke to my father and he spoke about Thanksgiving there, and that brought me to think about you and then my children. I said, you know what? I just feel like reaching out to Orlin and just saying hi and just seeing what's what. So, and we've never been digitally connected ever. And I did, and I found him.
Who's this guy?
Yeah. And I found him, I found him on LinkedIn, and I was like, hey, it's me. Danica's father is here. And then he immediately responded by sharing the picture that my daughter took of her Valentine's card for him that my father shared with him last year. You sent that back to me, and I'm like, this is crazy. And Orlin's like, what's crazy? I'm in the beginning process of wanting to create a podcast. Yeah. And I said,
whoa,
you're talking to the right people. I said, this is what we do. I says, we need to talk. So do you see the bigger picture that we were meant to have a discussion in so many ways?
Love that.
When I tell you podcast, I don't know of one podcast. I don't. I don't listen to podcasts. I don't find myself. It's a world that I know nothing about. It's a world that it's never even knocked on my door.
However,
at the right time, it was meant to be that there was a knock. And again, I heard, when I say I heard, my spirituality is I believe in God. So it literally was, okay, God, okay, I'm done working. Now what do I do? He says, I want you to talk. I want you to talk to people. I want you to meet people. And I literally want to go to the point where, like, I wish you all could come live with me today to meet Sylvie, because Sylvie is phenomenal. And she's amazing, this older young lady. And, it's so funny because it's freezing outside yesterday and she didn't have shoes on. And I said, Sylvie, where's your shoes? She says, sometimes I just forget to put them on.
mm-hmm.
She's dealing with some mental issues, but she's the sweetest, most beautiful person that you'll ever meet. So, not only do I want to find myself doing what you all do, I envy you all, but I want to be live. I want the world to see who I'm talking to or who I'm with or wherever I'm at, whatever part of the world I'm in, because I always find myself at the park.
Orlin, do you have a phone?
Bam.
Do you have a Facebook account?
I set it up yesterday because I was supposed to do it.
Okay. Here's how simple it is. Log into your Facebook account, and at the top, there's a red button that says go live.
All right. You guys are meeting Sylvie today.
That's it.
That's awesome.
That's it. And then you just share it. Just friend people. And then
I tell you, you're going to meet the two most amazing ladies. Sylvie and Mary. Mary walks around with her Bible all day long. And Sylvie, and they have this little community, and they all know each other. I met Dan yesterday. I call him this gentleman. I mean, if you want to talk about, he says going down the rabbit hole, this is the guy you want to talk to. I mean, he talked to me for 28 minutes. I recorded the whole session, and it was just talking about, he had everything to say about COVID. Wow. Every government thing that has happened from now back to John F. Kennedy. Mm-hmm. He just loves history, and you wouldn't think you would never meet Dan on the street and say, "Hey, Dan, let's talk about history." Mm. Wow. But he remembered every date, every time. Wow. I found out who Neil Bush was. I had no idea who Neil Bush was.
Mm.
So he's teaching you something.
Teaching. But the classroom is outside. It's not in the four walls.
Yes.
You got to go to the classroom.
100%.
Right.
True.
Love that. So these are moments. These are teachable moments. These are moments in life that we appreciate as they happen, hopefully. And if those, we're going to go back to what we're doing on this Friday is we create moments for people, like consistently and constantly through podcasts, through the event itself, which there's conversations that are had that aren't recorded on a podcast, but they're conversations that change people's lives. Literally. Yeah. We had a conversation in between. So Orlin, just to explain to you and anyone in the audience that doesn't know, so PodMax is a one-day virtual event where we get people on top-rated shows, mainly three shows in one day. So in between those recordings, we have conversations. There's 50 or 60 people in the room, and we just have a casual conversation. And one time we were talking to a business owner that was telling us his story and some of the things he was having challenges with. And there was someone, just like now, there are people watching, there are people listening, reached out to him, said, "Hey, I was listening to you and what you were saying, and I think I can help you." Come to find out, the kid that said, "I can help you," is a unicorn in his industry, someone that is really difficult to find, and he needed him. So now they're working together. They're working together, all because we created the opportunity. We created the moments. And I love that. That's the theme of the show today, Jake, is creating moments and appreciating moments, because they're happening like at an inconceivable rate. Every split second of time that passes, they're moments, and they're fleeting, and we're appreciating, and we're trying to grab hold of them. And what's cool about podcasting, and Josh, I'm sure you can expound on this, is that the podcast captures the moment. These live events that we're recording captures the moment in time forever. And you can go back and listen and appreciate it and go back to the moment and then relive it. It's just wild. And I think that's why the industry is exploding right now.
And one of the, yeah, go ahead, Orlin.
I'm going to find myself, you know what? I'm going to be your field worker because I'm going to go out into the field.
Yes,
and I'm going to go to the parks, and I'm going to go under the bridges, and I'm going to go to the houses, and I'm going to go where the prostitutes are, and I'm going to go where everyone is that has something to say, and they can say it on air, hold on, on air live brand. Did I say it right?
No, the opposite.
You're the
Good enough. Close enough, Orlin. Close enough.
On air.
Think about it. Okay, so listen, you have the news, right? You have your local news.
Yeah.
On air brands live.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Channel 5 News. This is live and da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
They say nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
Right.
And then they're like, okay. And then we have Johnny in the field, and Johnny doesn't really want to be in the field, but he knows his job.
So true.
So he's really not giving you any real information. He's just doing his job.
That's right.
I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen, we're sitting here with Sylvie. Sylvie's a little broke right now, but she's still, what she's saying is true. You know, just literally to take, you all are sitting here, but I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say live,
Yeah.
the button that you told me, and we're just going to do we're going to spin it. We're going to just
That's powerful.
I love
You
it.
know what, Orlin, too? You're giving people a voice. And I think that's another thing that podcasts
Bingo.
do is that they're voices of the homeless, voices of those people living under the bridge that never have an opportunity for someone to hear them.
Wow.
They hear the noise of the traffic. They hear when there's a thunderstorm, whatever it is, but no one ever is listening to them.
Yeah.
And you are enabling them to, all of us, to hear their voices.
I was even thinking, check this out. What if we could do this live here where I say, okay, I always use Sylvie because she's the newest one in my mind. So, hey,
Sure.
Sylvie needs a blanket. Okay, who wants to donate to get Sylvie a blanket? Okay, you shoot me $5. I go get the blanket, and we go live and say, Sylvie, meet Lisa. Lisa's the one who gave you the blanket. It wasn't me.
Wow.
Lisa,
Very cool.
here's Lisa. She's in New Jersey, but she saw you live, and she cares that much about you as an individual, and she wants to make sure that you feel loved today.
That's
So,
powerful.
Powerful.
Lisa, this is Sylvie live, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the blanket. Arrivederci.
I love that.
I think we just created a new show for
I
you,
think
Orlin.
so.
You know
Yeah.
what? I am so grateful for Josh reaching out to me and listening. You know, most people, when you tell them about dreams and goals, they're dream killers. They're like, I said, Josh, because you guys got all these fancy microphones. You got a gold one over here. I'm like, maybe I should run to Target or something.
I don't know if
you
you'll
know
find it in Target, but yeah.
And you know the funny thing is, when I thought to go buy a microphone and headphones, I don't need to do that. Maybe later.
Yes.
But right now, the only thing I need to do is tell you all what it is I want to do,
Yeah.
and I believe you all are going to help me achieve what I need to do. And it's not only is it going to help me, but it's going to help you.
Yeah.
The thing I love about this industry, as you're picking up on, Orlin, is that there's no limits. Anything you could envision, anything you want to do, as creative as you want. Yes, go out into the field, bring it back, editorialize it later for a nicely produced episode. Put it out there, bring other people in, show Sylvia, include that. No limits.
This is me. So America, if you're listening, you have to be listening because this is the place you should be listening to right now. So take 30 minutes. And if you didn't listen this time, log in next time. Don't miss it. So if you're listening, this is what I do. I talk. I don't edit. I don't do photos. I don't do computer. I talk. And I have a heart for people, and I love people, and I hug, and I shake hands, and I do whatever it is that person needs at that moment, because that's what's important. It's not a matter of, I'm going to come back and no, you need a hug right now. I'm giving you a hug. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I get it. I have on a nice polo that I just paid $50, but it doesn't matter. You need a hug. I'm going to give it to you. That's who I am. And that's what I hope that I can offer you all, is just that person that says, You want my voice? Here it is. And I want to learn.
So Orlin, when you go to the park today, how are we going to find you on Facebook? What are
You
you
tell me
under?
how I need you to find me, and I'll.
Well, what are you under? You're under Orlin.
I'm under Orlin McClendon.
Okay.
I think it's easier if you look at the screen here, Orlin. You see that @ symbol at On Air Brands Live. That's how you find us. Very
There it
simple. Yeah,
Done.
that's very, very simple. And then once you find us, you tag us, and then we'll see what you're doing. And then we
Well,
can share.
I
We
think
can-
Lisa's out there
She's already
hunting him
finding
down. Look, she's
trying to
hunting.
find you.
She's hunting him down. McLendon.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're going to extend a ticket to you, Orlin. I'm sure everybody's fine. If you have some availability on Friday, we'd love for you to peek your head in and check out and meet more people. See this right here, times 10. So it's going to be a lot of.
Wait a minute. Did I win the keys to the car?
I think we're giving you keys so that you can come check it out.
I told you I was
Absolutely.
going to be on the Oprah show, but this is the real Oprah show.
This
Like,
is the modern day.
This is
the
The
modern
View.
day Oprah. This
The
is
View.
It often does feel like the View,
I'm
doesn't
Joy. I'm Joy. I call Joy.
All right. so
I'll be
this is
Whoopi.
the view.
I'll be
Okay,
Whoopi.
wait a minute. If this is the view, I need everyone to tell me who they are.
I'm Whoopi. Come on.
Well, who is it? It's the pro football player's wife, or is that old news? Is she still there, the blonde?
I don't know the show well enough to
What?
pick somebody.
Back in the day, it would have been fun to be Barbara Walters, but you know,
Oh,
not,
she's
not
yeah.
she's kind of old news.
Yeah.
Yeah. But good stuff. Yeah. You got the ticket. I think Edwich, he's been engaged the entire time. So Dev, can we hook Edwich up too? Let's Edwich.
Absolutely.
You
Let's go.
coming in.
And
You
you know
coming in,
what?
brother.
If there's somebody else that has been so engaged, I want to give up my ticket for them.
Aw.
I want to give my ticket.
Well, hold on to it. We'll let you know. Well, we'll hold,
Okay, okay.
hold on to your
Give
ticket
me
for
my
now.
ticket. Got it.
Don't give away the golden ticket yet. Josh, anything you want to drive home?
golden
Our event is December 4th.
I
Willy
was
Wonka's in my
watching that
house all the
last
time.
night. Actually,
Me too.
good movie.
All the time. It's on in my house. My kids are obsessed with that movie. It's funny because to explain to them that everyone in that movie is probably not with us anymore. Let's go back to the whole beginning of the show. So just to cap it.
Hey,
Yeah,
they're
but anyway.
enjoying the moment. They're enjoying
Yes.
the moment.
Very, very true. But yeah, folks. So, thanks for tuning in. Our show and our live show is here every Wednesday at 11. So we'll be back next week. And this Friday is our last PodMax of the year. Very, 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 very sad to say. But I am so excited to have everyone who's going to be joining us, everyone who's signed on, all the podcasters, all the keynote speakers, every guest that will be sharing their story on multiple shows. Come on in, PodMax, December 4th. Even go to the website, constantly tune in because we will be announcing new stuff very, very, very soon, including the next event.
Yeah, and which our event now is in 2 days from the broadcast of this event. But Orlin, I am thrilled and excited to know that you are already in the realm of creating your content, creating your show. Eric, I love that you put it in the way that you said we create moments for people. Because
Yes.
as we pointed out, there's no wrong way to create content, which is all this is. We just happen right now to be using, in this case, the social media live format, but then we use the podcast medium and format to create content and then repurpose it in various ways. So however you're creating content, consider the podcast medium as part of your strategy, whether you're a host of a show and or a guest of a show. That's what we promote. Be the guest of the shows, and you'll see how valuable and beneficial it is as a content creation strategy. That's it. What else? Yeah, Orlin.
Looks like Vera's coming in. Vera, do you want a general admission ticket? Because we love you too. Well, throw us your email
The
and
love.
we'll say general admission ticket. Yeah, let's do it. We want people to come in, see what we're doing. It's always a closed door event, but we're starting to realize, there's something big, there's something massive happening, and we want to let the world know what's happening. So yeah, we're
That's
here and we'll be back next Wednesday live at 11. Hope to see you there and hope to see you at PodMax this Friday, December 4th. And we hope we added some value in your life today. See you guys later.
You're now tuned in to the On Air Brands